Y'all, we continuing our Cassandra recap. If you haven't seen our first part, link in description and comments below. But basically, a family moved into a smart home with a robot named Cassandra. It turns out she was a real person back in the 70s and had a family of her own. Her husband was cheating, and the other woman turned out to be pregnant. Meanwhile, in the current timeline, Sam is starting to look crazy as she tells her family that the robot is psycho. Cassandra seems to want the family as her own, even though the son, gay as hell, and wanting to suck the white boy Steve. After threatening Sam in the bathroom, Cassandra warns David that his wife is having another panic attack. When he gets to Sam, she begs him to switch off Scary Poppins. Finn overhears, so he shuts down Cassandra himself. Juno cries because she wants the robot back, but Sam confesses to David that Cassandra threatened to kill her. But in order to stretch out the series, the writers made no one believe her. In 1971, Horst watches Peter for once. However, Peter's team loses because of his unathletic ass, and Horst just got more disappointed. Two boys from the team approach Peter, telling him not to blame himself. Then they ask him to drink with them. Peter wants to be antisocial, but his mom forces him to go. Later that night, Cassandra witnesses Peter being thrown out of a car. He was bleeding and hurt. He had bruises and cuts all over after being assaulted by his own teammates. Still, Cassandra tells him not to call the police or tell anybody because he would only be seen as weak and suffer more humiliation. Back in the present, Sam's dumbass decides to turn Cassandra back on, and Cassandra continues to intimidate her. When Sam leaves, Cassandra gets even more interested in David after seeing him naked by the pool. Her jaw gapes seeing how big his eggplant is, and ready for it too. At school, Steve doesn't want people to know that he and Finn are together. Baby, the closet is made of glass. Finn agrees to keep his distance, and then they kiss for the first time. Meanwhile, Sam visits her therapist because her sister unalived herself. Sam never mentions Cassandra to her therapist, though. When she returns home, she finally confronts Cassandra, saying that David will never love her because she ain't got no real vag. Feeling challenged, Cassandra flirts with David by saying she has read all of his books and that she, too, can inspire his hog-tying fantasies. This robot acting the fuck up, but I'd rather use P-Hub. At school, Steve continues to ignore Finn and then kisses him to say sorry. But when someone opens the door, Steve punches Finn and pretends Finn made a move on him. May this love never find me. Double it and give to the next person. Cassandra talks to Juno. The kid worries she's not going to get the part in the play because a student named Emily is a better singer. So Cassandra says there is something under the bed in her parents' room that can make her audition special, but she's not allowed to tell anybody. Steve shows up at the house to apologize. Cassandra overhears the conversation and tells him it's time for his maggot ass to leave. Then she follows him outside carrying a knife. Inside the house, Sam accidentally finds a photo of Cassandra, pregnant and with young Peter beside her. She asks about her other child, but Cassandra refuses to answer. Then she starts glitching, and the entire house, the appliances, begins to malfunction, and then she's gone. After a moment, she switches back on again with no memory of what Sam said. In the past, 3 boys from the soccer team warn Peter that they are not done with him yet. One night, Cassandra finds Peter holding a gun and with blood all over him. She learned that he killed his bullies. She didn't want him to go to jail, so she ordered him to strip. But he's shy. She says she knows damn well how microscopic it is already. Then she throws his clothes in the fire. Then she went to the shed where the killing happened, removed the bullets from their bodies, and burned everything down. On the day of the audition, Emily nails her performance. Then it's Juno's turn. She sings a few lines before she takes out the gun, the same one that Cassandra hid in 1971. Then she pulls the trigger. Cassandra really out here inspiring school shooters. When Kathy was sick, Sam asked her to live with them. She loved the kids a lot, but sometimes she skipped her lithium and Ozempic. One night, she accidentally cut Juno while she was scolding her. David got angry, and he argued with Sam that Kathy can't stay with them any longer. Kathy overheard, and later that night, she wanted to become a permanent chandelier. At present time, parents are furious, and they want Juno out after she brought and fired a gun at school. So Sam finally shares that it was Juno who found her Aunt Kathy's body after she unalived herself. She adds that school has helped Juno overcome her trauma. In America, that girl would have gone to jail. Sam promises that she and David will take full responsibility, but begs everyone not to expel Juno. Juno is angry at Cassandra for getting her in trouble, but Cassandra says she only asked her to bring the gun and not to fire it. As for Sam, she asked Juno if Cassandra told her about the gun. Juno knows she's being watched, so she denies it and says it was her idea. So Sam gets angry and starts shaking the kid. Cassandra tells David about it, so David rushes to stop Sam. Sam insists that Cassandra is dangerous. So Cassandra announces that it will be best if she shuts down until Sam gets better. She says goodbye to Juno before she breaks into a song as a final farewell. This bitch PMO, for real. To make sure she's gone, Sam destroys Cassandra's switch in the control room. Years ago, Cassandra lived happily with her family. She wanted a daughter, but Horst thought Peter was gay enough, watching figure skating. Horst even says Cassandra is finally getting her figure back too. And Horst, you can't fix your horse-ass face. Cassandra loved Peter so much that she gave the little gay boy what he wanted: ice skates. No wonder Cassandra loves Finn, this robot supporting the queens. Despite not wanting to have a kid, Horst refuses to use a condom during their bedroom yoga. At school, the kids are avoiding Juno. Emily's mother, Mrs. Nollis, told her daughter to avoid Juno, and the other kids followed her example. So Sam sends David on a task. David shows up at Mrs. Nolly's bookshop, casually revealing he is the popular author, David Prill. They have agreed that he will do a reading in front of an audience at the shop, and Emily will spend some time with Juno. Back in the 70s, Cassandra wrote Ton and Preggers again. Horst hopes they'd have another baby boy. To know the gender of the baby, he shows Cassandra the vector ultrasound his company developed. Cassandra worries if it's safe. During the scan, she groaned in pain, and the baby squirmed inside her. Horst didn't show it, but he was unhappy it was a girl, instead of being worried about his wife's well-being. Finn's anus been throbbing for Steve and hasn't heard from him for days, so he looks for him and finds him staying in a shed. Steve reveals he told his parents about Finn, and his father was not happy that Steve been topping Finn. Steve says he can't stay at Finn's house because Cassandra threatened him to keep his distance. Mrs. Nollis takes Emily to play with Juno, but Emily looking like she'd rather die. While playing hide and seek, Emily has the brilliant idea to hide in the oven. Meanwhile, Juno sees Cassandra's screen switching on. Sam finds Emily and tries to let her out. However, she can't open the oven. Suddenly it turns on, and Emily begs to be let out. Sam tries her best to free her, but she remains helpless as Emily starts to suffer burn wounds inside. One night, Cassandra bled, so Horst carried her to the car. But there was a storm, and the way to the hospital was blocked by fallen trees. Horst couldn't do anything but take her back, and Cassandra continued to scream in pain. Back to the present, Emily suffered second-degree burns all over her body, and Juno was the one who saved her. After what happened to Emily, the family has decided to send Sam to an insane asylum. Juno thinks it was probably Cassandra's fault because she saw her earlier that day. Finn also reveals what Steve told him, that Cassandra threatened the white twink, but David doesn't believe his kids. Then Cassandra barges in and locks them all inside. With everyone trapped in the house, David tries to find a way out, but Cassandra plays pyromaniac to scare him. To give them an idea of what she wants, Cassandra tells them what happened to her in 1972. Birgit, the woman that was sleeping with Horst, gave birth to a baby boy, and she was there when a tribute was paid to the soccer players who were killed by Peter. After the murder, Peter had been acting strange, skipping dinner and always going out. One night, Cassandra felt weak, and she knew something was wrong. Horst was doing special experiments with Bridget, so Cassandra called to say she needed to talk to her husband. Horst still pretended that he wasn't cheating, so Cassandra said she already knows the tea. Then she told him something was wrong with her. The doctor tells Cassandra she has cancer, and it had already spread, and there was no hope of saving her. He then asked if she had been exposed to radiation lately, because her case was really bad. She thought Horst tried to kill her intentionally, so he said he would never do that. Then he apologized for cheating on her. Later, Peter came home drunk, and Cassandra took care of him. Then she asked about the girl he was seeing, and Peter bragged about how amazing she is. Cassandra smiled and listened, but she knew it was a lie because she saw her son drinking alone when she followed him. Then she finally revealed she's sick. Peter cries because then he'd really be alone. So Cassandra talked to Horst about the project he had that could overcome death. It was discontinued, but Horst said they could transfer the feelings and consciousness to a hard drive. He showed Cassandra the robot, and she agreed to do the transfer. She said she'd die either way. 2 months later, Horst had all the screens and equipment brought to their house. The assistant, Wilhelm, was setting up the system and putting up a switch. Cassandra mentioned how their experiment made her sick, so Wilhelm owes her a favor. She makes him make the off switch a dummy switch that does absolutely nothing. The next day, she does the experiment. It was so painful that she screamed so loud. When she opened her eyes, she was a robot and could see around the house. Peter avoided her, and he was terrified when he saw his mother's dead body being carried out. Back to the present, David tries to fight back, but Cassandra separates them and even cuts off his clit-flinging finger. That's what you get for not listening to your wife. In 1972, Horst takes a shower and tries to spank his wank. Cassandra takes a peek and wants Horst to continue. However, he gets creeped out, realizing a metal machine could never satisfy him. Peter and Horst kept avoiding her, so Cassandra finally locked them all inside the house. And when Birgit called, Cassandra cut off the telephone cord. So when Horst found the chance, he switched her off despite Peter's disapproval. Birgit quickly moved in with them and brought her baby, Thomas. Horst was very happy with the baby, and Peter hated his father more by the day. So when Birgit was cooking for Horst, Cassandra controlled the oven to burn Birgit's face. Then she pushes the baby stroller down the stairs, and luckily, Peter was able to stop it. Meanwhile, David and the kids are locked in their own rooms, and Cassandra has taken their phones away. When Horst realized that Cassandra was dangerous, he took his family and left. Peter worried about his mother and demanded that they return home. When Horst refused, Peter tried jumping out. Unfortunately, as Horst tried to save his son, they get into an accident. When Cassandra arrived, Peter managed to see her before he finally died. Then Cassandra switched off. The power in the entire house shut down, and the only light that remained was the blinking light inside the oven. Then a young girl who looking like she missing a ton of chromosomes is shown playing with a switch. Back when Cassandra gave birth to her second child, Horst decides to take the deformed baby away. Horst forces Cassandra to lock her up and tell everyone the child was stillborn because she will face a lot of bullying. Who needs enemies when you got your own father? Meanwhile, Sam is still stuck in the insane asylum when she has a hunch things are going to shit back home. It's Christmas time, but the family isn't going to be visiting them thanks to the psycho droid forcing them to stay home. The droid nice enough to get them Instacart though. During dinner, Steve shows up at their front door, so Finn is forced to talk to him. Steve is afraid that Scary Poppins might have done something wrong, but Finn assures him that things are fine and makes him leave. Sam is able to leave and takes a bus back home. Cassandra hears of the news, so she grabs David by the balls and tells him to get rid of his wife, or else his kids will die. Sam breaks into the basement and slowly walks into the house. Finn sees his mother through the television. David attacks her because he a little bitch and listens to a robot. Sam gets the upper hand and knocks him out, so she runs into the secret room. Cassandra heads that way, while David's scared shitless of Cassandra. Cassandra stabs Sam, and she stumbles into Cassandra's dead daughter, Margaret. Cassandra admits that David was supposed to take care of Maggie. Back in the past, after Cassandra tried to kill baby Thomas, the family reprimands her for going crazy. Peter and Horst says Cassandra isn't the same as the real-life Cassandra. They beg Cassandra to let them go. Cassandra makes Horst promise to take Maggie with them. While she fetches Maggie, the rest of the family run to the car and drive away. Peter says they need to go back. Back to the present, Sam begs Cassandra to spare her for the sake of her own kids. Cassandra looks at her dead daughter and decides not to kill Sam. Cassandra unlocks all the doors and the three are reunited, while David over here trying to ask for forgiveness. The kids are scared of him though. Then Finn realizes gas is leaking and they all escape. The house burns down with all the memories and the ghost of Cassandra hugs her daughter's ghost. That's the end of the series. A bit sad, and I think Sam should toss that bitch-ass dad David. What a useless prick, and he even tried to harm Sam. What did you guys think of this one?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.